My family treated my Pacific Bluffs home as communal property. Sister announced she's moving in with her kids. We'll take the ocean view room. So, I changed all the locks and donated her furniture to homeless veterans. Well, let's go. I'm Elise, 36 years old, and I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I bought a house in Pacific Bluffs, a coastal town near Santa Catalina County, 6 months ago. It's right where I always dreamed of living. The house cost me everything I saved over the years, but it was worth it. I worked my entire adult life for this. My family is complicated. My younger sister, Marin, is 33. She got divorced last year and moved into an apartment in Silver Grove with her 2 kids. The apartment is small but decent, though she complains about it constantly. My brother, Keaton, is 28. He lives in Echo Ridge, in a spacious rental apartment. He spends most of his time working on cryptocurrency projects that never go anywhere. Our parents live in Belmere Heights in a big house. My father built his business from nothing. He's proud of that fact and reminds us regularly. He sees his children as extensions of his empire. He thinks I'm the reliable one. He believes Marin and Keaton will carry on the family name. My mother supports whatever my father says. She smooths over every conflict. Her main goal in life is making our family look perfect to everyone outside. Ever since I bought the Pacific Bluffs house, my family started treating it like it belonged to all of us. They would show up unannounced. They would bring friends over without asking. My father once told me that family doesn't need permission. I didn't argue with him then. I should have. Every Sunday we have dinner at my parents' house. It's mandatory. Missing it means dealing with my mother's guilt trips for weeks. Last Sunday started like all the others. We sat around the table. My mother brought out the food. My father talked about business. Keaton checked his phone. Marin's kids ran around the house. Then Marin spoke up, her voice sweet and almost apologetic. So, we have a tiny plumbing issue at the apartment. Nothing major, but the landlord says it needs to be fixed properly. It'll take a week or 2. I was thinking the kids and I could stay at Elisa's place while the plumbers work. You have all that space, and the kids would love the beach. Her children immediately started arguing about who would get the bedroom with the ocean view. That's when I knew this wasn't a sudden plan. Marin had already told her kids they were moving into my house. She had prepared them. I looked at my mother. She was staring at the tablecloth, tracing the patterns with her finger. She wouldn't look at me. She knew about this beforehand. She didn't warn me because she was afraid of what my father would do if I objected. Keaton stayed quiet, but I saw him glance at Marin. They had discussed this. He was on their side. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. I had brought it for a different reason, but now it was perfect timing. Actually, that won't work, I said. I have contracts here with contractors. Major renovation starts next week. It's going to cost $98,000. The whole house will be torn apart. No suitable living conditions at all. It wouldn't be safe for the kids. The table went silent. My father put down his fork. His face turned red. You're going to disrespect your family like this? Your sister needs help, and you're making up excuses. Marin's voice got sharp. You never mentioned any renovation, Elise. Not once. When did you decide this? I looked at both of them. I don't need to mention my plans for my own house. And nobody has the right to move into someone else's house without being invited first. You didn't ask me, Marin. You announced it. My father stood up. This is what we raised. Someone who turns her back on family. I stayed calm. I'm not turning my back on anyone. I'm setting boundaries. There's a difference. I left before dinner ended. Nobody tried to stop me. My mother looked like she wanted to cry. Keaton still wouldn't look at me. Marin's face was full of anger. I drove home to Pacific Bluffs. The house was quiet. The ocean was right there outside my windows. I had worked for 15 years to get here. I had done everything right. Medical school, residency, career building, saving every dollar. I bought this house with my own earnings. And now my family wanted to take it over like it was theirs. I made a decision that night. Monday morning I would take action. I would protect what was mine. I knew what was coming. My family wouldn't just accept my refusal. They would push harder. Maren would show up anyway. My father would make demands. My mother would beg me to compromise. But I was done compromising. This house was mine. My life was mine. And I was going to defend both. I called a locksmith that night. I scheduled him for early Monday morning. Then I called a security company. I wanted a new system installed immediately. They said they could do it first thing Monday. Barely slept. I kept thinking about Maren's face at dinner. The entitlement in her voice. The assumption that my house was available whenever she needed it. I thought about my father's anger. The way he always expected me to fall in line. I had been falling in line my whole life. Not anymore. Monday morning arrived. I was ready. The locksmith arrived at 7 a.m. By 8, every lock in my house was changed. The security company came right after. They installed cameras at every entrance, new keypads, motion sensors. The whole system was connected to my phone. Nobody was getting in without my permission. I made coffee and waited. I knew exactly what was coming. At 9 o'clock, a moving truck pulled up to my gate. I watched it on the security camera. Maren was in her car behind it. Her kids were in the back seat. The truck was full of furniture and boxes. The security guard I had hired stopped them at the gate. I picked up the intercom. Maren, the renovation started. I told you this yesterday. Can't let you in. It's not safe for the kids with all the construction. Her voice came through the speaker, shaking with anger. Open this gate right now, Elise. We have nowhere else to go. That's not my problem. You should have asked me before you decided to move in. You assumed. That was your mistake. I'm your sister. These are your niece and nephew. And this is my house, my property. You don't get to just take it over. She started yelling. I could hear her through the intercom and from outside. Her voice that loud. The truck driver looked uncomfortable. Maren's kids were crying in the car. Fine, she shouted. Unload everything right here on the driveway. We'll figure this out. I didn't argue. The mover started unloading furniture and boxes right in front of my gate. Couches, beds, toys, clothes, kitchen items, everything she owned. Apparently, she had really planned to move in permanently. I made another call. This time to an organization called Haven for Heroes. They help homeless veterans. I explained the situation. They said they could send someone right away. 40 minutes later, their van arrived. The administrator, Janet, was professional and kind. All of this, she asked, looking at the pile. Yes. It's abandoned property. I'm the property owner and I want it donated to your organization. Maren heard this. She came running back. She had left for maybe 10 minutes. You can't do that. That's my stuff. That's theft. I looked at her calmly. It's on my property. You abandoned it here. I have the legal right to dispose of abandoned property on my land. I'm choosing to donate it. That's completely lawful. Janet and her team started loading the furniture into their van. Maren screamed. She called me names. Her kids were still crying. The neighbors were watching now. I didn't care. You're insane. I'm calling the police. Go ahead. You'll find out I'm completely within my rights. The van drove away with everything. Maren stood there shaking with rage. Then she got in her car and left, tires squealing. I went back inside. My phone rang 5 minutes later. It was my mother. Elise, what have you done? Maren called me crying. She says you stole all her belongings. I donated abandoned property. There's a difference. How could you be so cruel to your own sister? She needed help. She needed to respect my boundaries. I didn't. Now she's learning consequences. Your father is furious. Absolutely furious. That's his choice. My mother's voice grew small. Please, Elise, fix this. Apologize to your sister. Let them stay with you. Just for a little while. No. Your father will never forgive you. I'll survive. She hung up. That evening my father called. His voice was cold and hard. You've disgraced this family. I'm cutting you out of my will. You get nothing. I almost laughed. Dad, you already did that. Remember a year ago when I wouldn't co-sign for Keaton's cryptocurrency startup? Silence. You remember that, right? Keaton's brilliant token that was going to revolutionize the luxury industry. He spent $42,000 of your money on fake advertising. There were 0 real users. The token launched at $1. 3 months later it was worth nothing. You lost $120,000. Your friends lost $30,000. And you blamed me for not supporting him. That was different. No, it wasn't. You wanted me to risk my financial security for his scam. Said no. You disowned me then. So this threat means nothing. No, Dad. I've become an adult with boundaries. There's a difference. Respecting boundaries isn't cruelty. It's just life. He hung up on me. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat by the window. The ocean was dark, the waves steady and reliable. Keaton didn't call me. I heard from my mother later that he told my father I had become unpredictable after the cryptocurrency incident. He told my mother that if I had just supported his project back then, he would have money now to help Marin himself. But Keaton never offered Marin a place to stay. He had a spacious apartment in Echo Ridge. Plenty of room. He never even suggested it. I found out later, much later, that Keaton had actually done something worse. He had secretly offered Marin help through his real estate connections. He said he could get her into my house long-term if they could just force me to let her in first. He was plotting against me with her. That first week was hard. My mother called every day. She begged and cried. Marin sent me dozens of texts, horrible messages, calling me every name she could think of. She sent voice messages from her kids. They promised to be good if I let them stay. I blocked all of them, focused on my work. I went to the hospital, performed surgeries, came home to my quiet house by the ocean. And slowly, I started to feel something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Marin didn't give up. She went into full attack mode. She wasn't going to accept defeat quietly. First, she filed a police report claiming I had stolen her property. Police called me. I explained the situation calmly. I told them about the abandoned property on my land. I gave them the contact information for Haven for Heroes. I showed them the security camera footage of Marin ordering the movers to unload everything on my driveway and then leaving. The officer looked tired. Ma'am, this is a civil matter, not criminal. Your sister can take you to small claims court if she wants, but there was no theft here. The report went nowhere. But Marin wasn't done. She called a family meeting at my parents' house. I wasn't invited, obviously. My mother told me about it later. Marin played the victim perfectly. She cried, said I was cruel and heartless. She showed my parents photos of her apartment that looked terrible. Water damage, mold, broken fixtures. Proof she desperately needed to move out. The only problem was the photos were fake, or at least exaggerated. When my father finally offered to pay for a hotel room for Marin and the kids, suddenly the plumbing problem in her apartment disappeared. Just like that. No more emergency, no more desperate need to move. But Marin refused the hotel. She insisted she would only stay at my house in Pacific Bluffs. Nothing else would do. My father was starting to see through it, I think. But he still called me. Your sister needs family support. Stop being stubborn. She needs to stop manipulating everyone. The plumbing emergency was fake, Dad. It vanished the second you offered an alternative solution. He didn't have an answer for that. Marin got more aggressive. She wrote a long post on Facebook. She didn't use my name, but everyone in our social circle knew exactly who she was talking about. She wrote about a cruel sister leaving her family homeless. She wrote about greed and selfishness. She wrote about how blood should mean something. The post got a lot of sympathy. People who didn't know the full story left comments supporting her. Some people I knew from childhood sent me messages asking if I was okay, clearly having heard Marin's version of events. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't defend myself on social media. I knew that would just make it worse. Then Marin took it further. She started spreading rumors to my neighbors in Pacific Bluffs. She told them I had mental health problems, that I was unstable and dangerous. She wanted them to distrust me, maybe even fear me. Some neighbors mentioned it to me casually. Your sister came by. She seemed really worried about you. I just smiled and said, family drama. It'll pass. But Marin wasn't finished. She organized a protest outside my house. She actually paid people to stand at my gate with signs. The signs said things like, greed kills family and blood over money. It was absurd. It lasted one afternoon before my lawyer sent her a cease and desist letter. My father called her after that. I don't know exactly what he said, but my mother told me he warned Marin that her actions could backfire legally. He told her that from a legal standpoint, she was the one in the wrong. California law was very strict about property rights. Everything she was doing, from the attempted forced entry to the defamation, could result in serious consequences if I decided to pursue it. Marin finally stopped, but the damage was done. She had burned every bridge. She had shown everyone who she really was. I could have sued her. I had grounds for a defamation lawsuit. The rumors about mental illness, the public accusations, the false police report. My lawyer said I had a strong case. But I didn't do it. Not because I forgave her, but because I didn't want her in my life anymore at all. A lawsuit would mean months or years of continued contact. Court dates, depositions, drama. I just wanted her gone. So I cut her off completely. I blocked her number. I blocked her on all social media. I told my mother that I wouldn't discuss Marin anymore. If my mother brought her up, I would end the conversation. My mother tried a few times. But she's your sister. She made her choices. I made mine. Eventually my mother stopped trying. Marin lost her influence in the family after that. My father was disappointed in how she handled everything. Keaton distanced himself from her because associating with her obvious manipulation made him look bad too. I heard through my mother that Marin's kids asked about me. Sometimes they wanted to visit the beach house, but Marin wouldn't let them contact me. She was still too angry, too bitter. I felt bad for the kids. They didn't ask for any of this. But I couldn't help them without letting Marin back into my life. And that wasn't happening. Meanwhile, I actually did start renovations on my house. Not fake ones, real ones. I hired contractors. I upgraded the kitchen. I rebuilt the terraces. I added features to the pool. I made the house exactly what I had always dreamed it could be. The work took 6 months. It was loud and messy and expensive. $98,000, just like I had told my family that Sunday at dinner. Except now it was real. And during those 6 months I had peace. No family dropping by unannounced, no demands, no guilt trips. Just me, my work, and my home slowly becoming perfect. The renovation increased the property value by 45%. The house became a modern sanctuary. Clean lines, open spaces, ocean views from every room. It was exactly what I wanted. When it was finished, I invited my parents over to see it. They came to visit on a Saturday afternoon. My mother brought flowers. My father was quiet, which was unusual for him. I gave them a tour. The new kitchen with custom cabinets and marble countertops, the rebuilt terraces that extended the living space outdoors, the infinity pool that seemed to blend into the ocean, the master suite with floor-to-ceiling windows. Every room was designed exactly how I wanted it. My father walked through slowly. He didn't say much. He looked at everything carefully. The craftsmanship, the design choices, the way everything flowed together. Finally we sat on the terrace. The sun was setting over the ocean. My mother made small talk about the neighborhood. My father just stared at the view. Then he spoke. You were right. I looked at him surprised. That conversation we had on the phone about boundaries, about respecting your space. You were right and I was wrong. It was the first time I could remember him admitting he was wrong about anything. I built everything from nothing, he continued. I worked hard. I thought that meant my children owed me something, that your success was my success, that your house was the family's house. But that's not how it works. My mother touched his hand. She looked proud of him. This house is yours, he said. You earned it. You protected it. I respect that. I didn't know what to say. I just nodded. We had dinner on the terrace that night. It was peaceful. No demands, no guilt, just family being family in the right way. A week later, Keaton sent me a text message. It was short. Dad respects what you did. Congratulations on the house. It looks amazing. Keaton always knew which way the wind was blowing. Now that our father approved of me, Keaton wanted back in my good graces. A few days after that, he showed up at my door with a bottle of expensive whiskey. I recognized it. It was from our father's collection. Keaton had probably taken it years ago. I wanted to celebrate your success, he said. We sat on the terrace. He poured the whiskey. Then he started talking about his new idea. I've been working on something big, a crypto project, but different this time. Real utility, real backing. I learned from my mistakes. Here we go, I thought. I need a partner, someone smart, someone strategic. We could do this together. Your medical connections, my tech knowledge. We'd be unstoppable. Keaton, I'm not interested. Just hear me out. No, I'm a surgeon. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at. I'm not investing in cryptocurrency. I'm not joining your projects. My answer is no. His face changed. The friendly mask dropped. His voice got harsh. You know what your problem is. You've forgotten about family values. You've become selfish. You care more about your precious house than about your own brother. That's not true. Care about boundaries. I care about not being used. Used. I'm offering you an opportunity. You're offering me a chance to fund your next failure. The answer is no. He stood up angry. He took the whiskey bottle with him. You're going to regret this. When I'm successful, don't come asking for anything. I won't, I said. He left. I never heard from him again about business proposals. He knew I meant what I said. Marin never came to see the house. I heard from my mother that she was still angry, still bitter. She couldn't let it go. But I had let her go. I had let all of them go in a way. Not my parents, they had come around. But the version of family that required me to sacrifice everything for everyone else. I stood at my panoramic window that night after Keaton left. The ocean was calm. The sky was clear. Stars were starting to appear. For the first time in years I felt completely at peace. Not as someone's daughter, not as someone's sister, just as myself. A woman who had built not just a house, but a life where my rules mattered, where my boundaries were respected. I had worked 15 years to get here. Medical school, residency, building my career, saving money, buying this house, and then fighting to keep it mine. It was the greatest victory I had ever won. Not because I had defeated my family, but because I had finally stood up for myself. I had said no and meant it. I had protected what was mine. The house was worth more now, but more than that, my life was worth more. Had my peace. Had my space. Had my freedom. And nobody could take that away from me. I made myself dinner and ate on the terrace, watching the waves. The ocean kept moving, steady and constant, just like me. I had everything I needed and I had earned every bit of it.